Hello, Mr. Bob here. A few years ago, I made a presentation to a school superintendent that got me a job teaching middle school science and more specifically high school technology. And I'd like to share that presentation with you. It's a little long, but I think it's aged well. Let's stick with it. And full disclosure, this is at a Christian school district, so there's a lot of scripture in here. You can read that on your own. So I'm proposing this class as a STEM-a-Thon. And you go ahead and use this in your classroom. I mean, I'm not teaching anymore, so contact me if you need any help or advice with it. I'd love to help put this on again. Obviously, I've got some experience with it. So this is for a high school kind of a magnet class involving STEM. So you've got science, technology, engineering, mathematics. And the way I'd like to teach this class is kind of an open lab. Because STEM classes I've been in, they're boring. They're dittos at the high school level, maybe a few experiments here and there. You go through the textbook, you use equipment that's decades old. So I just want to skip all that and get to the point because, well, it could be a class on time travel. So I want to talk about the future, possibly alien worlds, because who knows where this stuff comes from. And hacking for fun and profit, which I think is going to be very important in the upcoming economy. And actually, it's all of that, but it's a hackathon. So I'm a veteran of several software hackathons where basically a software company will come together and put up prizes for people to build products on their platforms. And why not have one for just science, STEM? So I want to get rid of the traditional textbook and labs and all that and just go with play in my class. So let's define two terms. So STEM, I use science as a debugging tool. The scientific method to me is about finding out, okay, well, what failed with what I'm trying to build, and can I prove that that's what it really was, and find the problem. And then technology is a tool set, basically a bunch of different solutions that other people have come up with to solve these similar problems. And don't reinvent the wheel. Go look up the wheel, and possibly steal a wheel from someone else. I mean, whatever. Ideas are just ideas. Engineering to me is trade. That's the job title I've had for decades. And the job is to apply existing tool set technology to problems identified by science. And math is just a tool in the box. It's basically the hammer. So science will tell you what's wrong. Math will tell you, okay, but how much and where do you need it to hit it and how hard to get it to do what you want it to do. So that's STEM to me in a nutshell. All right. In this class, the students will build and present 1 to 2 projects, depending on time and commitment over the course of each quarter. This didn't happen with my students, but your mileage will obviously vary. I was envisioning them pairing off into teams of 4 to 5 persons each, and each team completing a project or 2 in a quarter. And the idea here is to be really self-directed, or at least self-directed by committee. All right, so the idea is to select from a catalog of emergency STEM technology or emerging STEM technology. At the time, I defined it as anything you would find at Singularity University. And Singularity University is a college that focused on all the emerging and disrupting technologies at the time, let's say 10 years ago. I just happened to have, my office was around the corner from their campus. I got found out about them and really liked what they were doing. So I'm adopting their strategy here, which is to talk about all of the emerging technologies as they go through their technology graph and straight up into a singularity and how they all interact with each other. So that's really what my class is about. Oh, and usually when you're learning to write in a new programming language, tradition says the first program you always write says hello world. So we're going to follow that tradition as well. So I want to focus on hands-on discovery. The project assignments, I'm going to tell you what to do. I'm not going to tell you how to do it. And you need to get your nose out of the books and formulas and get on just hands-on and break things and find out why and start practicing using that science to figure out why and all the other STEM tools to fix it. And there's really no limitations. I mean, even stuff that's never been done before. I mean, why not you? All right, let's talk about schedule and budget. Projects will vary wildly in difficulty, from very easy stuff like typing to a computer to very hard stuff like go sequence this genome. And the project material budgets will average, I'm thinking about $100 per student per project. And some projects will take nothing, and some projects will take way more. And at the end, I want to talk about getting sponsorships and partnerships with local businesses that are involved in all these technologies to help the students along the way, and also to help the companies to get exposure to up and coming employees and have some say in what's inspiring them and to do what. All right, so the assessment in this class, there's going to be quarterly showcases where I want the students to present their projects to other groups, to each other, to the student body, to the community, to local companies, whoever's going to show up. I want to show basically your basic science fair and invite everybody. And I'm bringing in from my hackathon experience at Eth Global that the format for the presentation is going to be a 4-minute demonstration, either live or recorded, that the students can do at the fair to whoever decides to stop by and ask. So it's going to be fairly typical to corporate setting. You sit in front of the table and present, stand and deliver. All right, so if these are the technologies that I was imagining at the time, and this list has actually stood up fairly well over time. Artificial intelligence, soft computing. This is a whole branch of mathematics and computer science that started in the 60s and has really just exploded lately. But it's definitely top of the list for people being involved in wanting to do things. And artificial intelligence, I want to use the broader context of soft computing to expose students to more things that may be coming up right behind than standard neural networks. Drones and UAVs, these are also huge now. All of this stuff has pretty much taken off since I started teaching this. And I am actually a certified FAA drone pilot, or licensed FAA drone pilot. So I've been through the test. I can help students with that. I can be the pilot in charge, get the controls, and kind of guide them towards what the state of the art is. If you want, and we'll talk about the projects later. Blockchain, this is very near and dear to my wallet. I'm very involved in this myself. Cryptocurrency, financial technology. That's just a rabbit hole. You would not believe how deep it is. But there's so much for students to get involved with, and if they are the business head type, to use this sort of up-and-coming technology. Virtual augmented extended reality. A lot of students come into my class, they're addicted to video games. Why not get them into producing, especially with third dimension, and talk about what VR and AR can do outside of video games in my classroom, get them involved in projects in creating content in these mediums. Robots, mechatronics, automation. Obviously, I come from a aerospace mechanical engineering background, so I love robots. I got into it to build robots. I know all the physics of robots, and I'd love to share that with students if they want to get involved in making their own little projects. Genetic engineering, I know nothing about this, but why not? Go learn. Let's do something. Bioengineering, this also involves non-traditional farming methods like aquaponic and hydroponic farming. I've got some experience with that as well. I've done that for 5 or 6 years at my house. I did a lot of research. It's really fascinating stuff to talk about, especially with all the new money out there that's marked for green projects. Huge field to get into. Additive subtractive manufacturing, CAD, CAM. I have a little bit of experience as a machinist. Did some of that in 2-year trade school. CAM, it's backed again with mechanical engineering, CNC. There's a lot of really powerful stuff out there that's, well, it's evolving. And it involves, especially mixed in with artificial intelligence. We'll talk about that later. Nanotech, material science. My graduate degree is half ultra precision machine engineering. There's a lot of stuff to talk about there that students don't normally get exposed to. Like, I'll get to that later on. And then wearable Internet of Things. This is really quite fascinating. The glasses I'm wearing have got Bluetooth in them, and cameras and microphones and such. And what else can you do in a computing space involving our immediate wearable environment? Lots of stuff going on there with IoT as well. So why am I doing all this crazy tech in a school that's got no budget and with students who can, in some cases, have issues with being behind grades or having never done any of this research themselves? So my theory is that all of the old technology is built into all the new technology. And why not skip to the exciting stuff? And when you run into trouble, you're going to have to back up and dig into the old stuff anyway. So it all comes in one package. Let's just give them a shinier package. I think you get a lot more engagement that way. Also, all the jobs but in the economy, by the time students get to being employable, are going to be in what is today cutting edge sciences and technologies. So why bother with all the old stuff? Because that stuff's not going to hire out very well by the time the students are of employable age. So a little bit of the life hack I wanted to share with the students. All this technology is somebody's company product, and that whole company is devoted and highly motivated to help people use their product as future customers. So if you get stuck in any of this stuff, there's always going to be a number to pick up the phone and call and get professional help. And I guarantee you, having been on the other end of that phone myself, they're going to be tripping over themselves to help you. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Pick up the phone, drop a dime, get the help you need, and be amazed at what resources are out there. I also want to talk a little bit about the adoption curve. All of these technologies have a curve, and they're all running almost simultaneously, but theoretically, they're all separately. So this is Gardner's hype curve. Everything starts off with hardly anybody knows about it. A lot of these technologies, when I first had this course, were very new and nobody knew about it. We're up here in the high peak right now. Everybody's excited. And some of them are starting to roll off into the valley of disillusionment. But long term, even if some of the stuff is going to crash as they graduate, everybody underestimates the long term benefits of and applications and basically markets for all of these new technologies and sciences. All right, so mad science, you're one of the students. Yeah, you're getting that. Stuff's not going to work the first time. If it does, you did something wrong. You just have to keep applying scientific method to get in there and debug. And this is the job. If you're going to work in this stuff, you got to be able to deal with stuff that doesn't work and make it work. 90% of the job is on that path. So I really wanted to get students with some experience in doing this, especially since the standard follow the lab ditto doesn't give you any of it. All right, another warning to students. This stuff is coming. It's taking over the world. If you do not master these technologies, they will master you. So even if you're not going to be involved in engineering or developing in these industries, you need to understand how they work. And you need to understand all the pitfalls and how marketing is going to abuse them. So let's get some experience for everybody. All right, so kind of the back of the house for this course is I developed this skills project tree. If you're playing a video game, if you go to different character classes, you get opportunities to learn various different skills, and they're all organized into this tree. So I went through all these technologies and built this kind of tree based on which technology you're going to go into, what are the basic skills, what are the intermediate skills, the advanced skills, and then some of the cross if you want a multi-class. So I wanted to put it kind of in a gamification context to try to speak that language to my students. So I want students to level up their skills in each industry by completing projects. And it's just also building a portfolio. And there's lots of projects that I'll combine, and we'll talk about that a little bit more later. Also, I wanted to talk to the students about ethics and morality in using these technologies. Technologies themselves are morally neutral, but people using them are not. And that includes us. So check yourself before you wreck yourself or others. There is accountability. Even if you can't see it immediately, it does come around. Also, a warning that I've experienced myself: if your heart cannot engage in the project that you are engaged in or being paid to do, because your heart knows there's something maybe morally wrong with what you or the customer are doing, then you're not really going to be able to engage your full focus and your full potential into the project. So keep in mind, right and wrong, look for stuff that's right, that your heart can really sink its teeth into, and avoid pitfalls of working for a DoD or DARPA or whatnot. All right, so the presentation beyond here is just a catalog of all the different starter projects for each of these industries, and this is what I call the Hello World list. So they're designed to be achievable, and they're designed so that you can easily find videos on the internet on how to get started, how to do this, and basically the approach is to go out in the world, find somebody on YouTube that did this and replicate that. Just get your hands in it, see how it works, see how somebody did it online, see how it doesn't work. It's not going to work in the lab, and fix it. Maybe call them, call somebody else, and bring all your best stories back to class. And maybe take it 1 or 2 steps further than the Hello World video we saw online. So let's get started. All right, so soft computing. I divide this into 3 categories. This is the cheapest, one of the cheapest ways to get started. So all it requires is a computer, and there are plenty of those lying around. So in neural networks AI, I want you to write a program that can identify something. The classic is letter recognition, but you can do dogs, you can do faces, you can do coins, any data set you've got, training AI to categorize and recognize it. Fuzzy logic, something people haven't heard about in 20 years. This is more for control systems. It's the idea of 1 + 1 = kind of sort of 2-ish. And it's the ish that brings in the fuzzy logic. But it's great for fuzzy things like, is it hot today? I don't know what's hot mean. It's an old school way of converting language into physical mathematical quantities. Or another classic I like is, are you speeding? I mean, you can pull up for a speeding ticket. What does that mean? Or evolutionary algorithms. These are a little bit more esoteric, but they get into natural selection and adapting this is actually adapting a neural network to a data set so that it can predict future performance based on past performance. And also you get multiple different tries at it. You let them all go at it. You have a rubric and you kill off the ones that do well. You mutate and you crossbreed and try again and iterate on this. I don't think it's really in too much use today, but it was kind of fun before neural networks took over everything. This might actually be coming up next. All right, let's talk about drones. So the basic Hello World project in drones is you can either build one, and you can use any materials you like. Legos, I've seen kits for about $50, or you can go online for 50 to 650, depending on your source of either China or American suppliers. Get kits to put them together, solder it together, get to work. Or I've seen cardboard drones or kit bash, some combination, build a drone. That's your Hello World. Just build it. And then to evaluate this, the performance challenges are, can you get it to hover steady? That's a lot harder than it sounds. In fact, that was the primary hurdle that created drones out of our seaplanes, is a drone can hover autonomously without having to fiddle the sticks with a human. It's got a computer on board that's listening to the sensors, and there's a lot more complexity there than it seems. And then we'll get into, can you fly a straight line? And that's also very hard to do without first-person controls. And if you get beyond that, hey, if you get more than one team going, let's have an RC race. Put up a track and have some fun with it. Blockchain cryptocurrency. So this is a very new technology in finance and computer science. So my hello world here is, can you create and deploy your own token? Or if you're more on the artistic side, can you come up with your own NFT collection and put it up for sale? Or maybe if you want to get it more advanced, can you take one of the school's computers and create a blockchain node and operate a node in one of these networks? Or create a vote counting system for a governance token, or create a multi-sig wallet. I mean, there's 20 other things. These are the first 5 I picked up. Or create a decentralized exchange. None of these are really more than 1,000 lines of code. And a lot of them are more like 80 to 20, or 20 to 80 lines of code that's custom. Once you bring in the templates that I know exactly where to go find. But I just want to get the students to dip their toes in this huge ocean that's exploding all around us, and it's where all the money is going. So if you want to be rich, get a job playing with money. All right, virtual reality. So create an animated streaming avatar. So I could have put up an avatar instead of my real face on this video, just with a punch of a button. The question is, okay, where do those come from? Who wrote those? How do those work? What software packages are behind that? So from scratch, get online, make a list of all the parts, put it all together, and get it to work. Or get into, say, either Unity or Unreal Engine and create a 3D environment and apply it to a Oculus system. And I know exactly where to find the tutorials on how to do that. They are not simple. Or if you really want to get into 3D modeling or animation, hey, design some kind of avatar superpower that actually works when you're rendering this, that could be used in a game or other social virtual reality setting. So those are kind of my 3 hello worlds. And kind of fun depending on students' particular events and interests. All right, robotics and automation. This is just now taking off. This is kind of lagging behind the other technologies because it's so intimidating, and physics is a lot less forgiving than software. There are basically 2 kinds of beginner robots. There is the mechanical hand. So you've got 5 or 6 joints you can move around by command, or you've got a robot, which is basically something on wheels that you can drive around. It's an RC car with a little bit of a brain in it. Either one will do. Build one or the other. This will cost you a little bit in parts unless you want to get creative. And I've seen some students get very creative with this. All right, bioengineering agritech. So build an aquaponic ecosystem. So this will get students into understanding carbon cycles, all the bacteria that's going on that actually manages all the chemical reactions that need to go into making a plant from water and air. Talking about ammonia, breaking that down, blah, 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 blah. An aquaponic system is essentially, a plant, put water into it, the water drains off into a fish tank. And the fish, you throw a little bit of fish food in there, they create waste products. And then the bacteria in the water breaks down the ammonia and the waste products for the plant. So basically, the plant cleans the water for the fish to feed the plant, and it runs in a cycle. Or you can, so that's my basic project. I've run 5 or 6 of these by now. Hydroponic, aquaponic. I had one group I'll talk about later. Built some very interesting things. Or grow a monoculture bioreactor. And this is the idea. You want to separate one strain of bacteria and see if you can get just that to grow. That's a huge challenge. It involves a lot of sterilization, a lot of glassware. But yeah, it turned out a couple of students tried that and it turned out kind of interesting. So stories about that later, ask me. All right, additive subtractive manufacturing. What I mean by additive is obviously 3D printing. That's what everybody calls it. So use a 3D printer or a CNC mill to create something. And this is not too hard. It's more about the operation of the machine. So my students that did this actually downloaded shape files off the internet, dumped them to a 3D print machine, done, easy peasy. But you need to figure out how to set up the machine, level the beds, or if you've got this kind of printer, you got to figure out all the settings to get the layers right. It's a little harder than it looks, but it's a lot of fun. And I kept 2 3D printers in my classroom running nonstop. All kinds of trinkets and toys and stuff the kids kept printing out for each other. I'm not sure that was the best thing to do for discipline, but man, the kids had fun. All right, if you want to get advanced, and this never actually happened, I should probably remove this, is assemble a 3D printer. So buy it in a kit and put it together. But nobody had the budget for that. But it's not to say nobody won't. So I'd leave that in there. All right, Internet of Things and wearable technologies. Create a digital assistant game. So if you can get on something like Alexa, figure out how to create a behavior that is a interactive game. Use your creativity for that, or get a Raspberry Pi or an Arduino platform and have it do something interactive in the room using the sensors of your choice, or use a Flora microcontroller, which is actually a wearable version of an Arduino. And that's this little round chip in the middle, and get that to do something, which requires some imagination and some sewing skills, and you got to learn to solder. Not too hard. All right, so that was the rundown of all of my technologies that I wanted to teach in the room, and I think it's held up fairly well today. The only thing that's really lagging behind is robotics, and that's only by a year or two. All the other technologies are exploding off the charts in the 2 years since I came up with this curriculum. So I think this curriculum is still applicable today. And if you get through all of that stuff and you've got time left in your academic year, let's try to explore each one of those columns deeper. So let's have another run through that list. And this is again after the students have done their Hello World project and are looking to get a little more invested in any particular industry or technology. So the idea here is to take it one step further. All right, so soft computing. So how about doing a mood detector? So you're not only detecting a face, but a condition of a face. Fuzzy logic. Let's actually evaluate something that's extremely fuzzy, like try to predict the weather. Or evolutionary algorithms. How about you create a generational algorithm that over several generations will learn to play a video game? Lots of fun. All right, so AI, obviously this chart is dated. It's 2 or 3 years old. This is kind of a map of all of the industries, all the companies involved in AI and all the different segments. This thing is the size of a garage door now. This has just exploded, but you get the idea. There's a lot of different companies and applications. Go pull down one of their products and try to put it to use. Yeah, there's a lot. Same thing with decentralized finance. So there are over 20 to 30,000 new tokens being released daily at the time of this video. So whatever you want to do, it's probably out there. And if it's not, go put it out there. It doesn't take much. Probably already did that in your Hello World project. So here's my challenges to you. Use a lending protocol So lend and or borrow and pay back money, create a trading bot, paper trading first, of course, use a flash loan. Go look up what that is. I think it'll blow your mind if you don't already know. Or what about 40 more things to explore with DeFi? And actually, now this is getting mixed up with AI, and there's more like 4,000 things to do. So yeah, have fun, kid. Come back and report. Drones round two. Okay, so now let's talk about bringing the students' home-built drone outside and navigating with crosswinds. And my favorite is the cargo delivery. So I'll typically have the students take pieces of candy from one corner of the classroom, deliver to the other corner of the classroom. I don't care how, but you can't touch the candy. And you cannot touch your device. So it all has to be remote control. Students have a lot of fun with that one. I've seen some very interesting solutions. Robotics and automation. All right, so take a manual task, I don't care what, and automate it. It could be flipping a pancake. It could be tying a necktie, but probably won't be that complicated. But make a robot, like your robot arm, do something, or make your rover robot deliver something, or go travel around and take pictures. So there's a lot to do to doing this. This is the entire mechanical engineering industry. Plenty of people to call, plenty of resources, plenty of stores, plenty of markets. Have fun, kid. Problem with this one is the budget. So you may have to get some outside partners. All right, bioengineering and agritech. This one gave me a lot of trouble. Building a continuous bioreactor. That is something you can withdraw a product out of, and it just keeps growing and making more. This is an introduction to genetic engineering, which got it hit a bit of a wall doing things at home outside of university. But we'll talk about that later. But I've had a couple of students make it to this point and make an attempt, and they got very high grades, even though they didn't quite make it all the way there. Additive and subtractive engineering. We're talking 3D printing. We're talking CNC. The next level, once you've done something plastic, is to do it in metal, because metal is a much stronger material. You can have so many more applications. And now you start getting into aerospace, and you start getting into robotics, and you can also talk about carbon fiber and other composites materials. And yeah, go to gadget mechanical engineering. This is straight up their alley. I've done a lot of this stuff in my career. Yeah, introduction to some very heavy duty math, but if you're just trying to build something, sketch it out, it's very hands-on. You don't have to know differential equations for this stuff. It's on a very technical technician level. All right, so let's introduce a few more topics that are a little bit more up there. How about material science? Talk about strength of materials. And my challenge is, well, I'm from California. Go build a surfboard, but don't use styrofoam, don't use plexiglass or fiberglass. Come up with something else, put one together. And the challenge is, does it float? And can you stand on it without breaking? All kinds of things to do to make that work. And most of them aren't toxic. Internet of Things and wearables. Oh boy. This is where we start getting to smart city kind of technology. So create a digital assistant to respond to other people in your environment. So make Alexa turn on the lights when humans are detected. How does that work? Get in there and help her do that. Or IoT over a network. So be in one room, sense people or objects or animals somehow in another location over the internet. Or 3D print clothing. That's just getting started. I have not seen much work on that, but it's a lot of potential. Okay, so now we've been through all of our technology areas, hello world, and then another project deeper than that. What if we wanted to start trying to cross-pollinate? This is what I call combinatorics. So maybe use an AI and cryptocurrency to create a smart self-learning trading bot. There's a lot of that going on right now. In fact, that's taking over the market. And well, we'll get into it, all the different combinations. So this is like the third project. Get together with a group that's mastered one, mastered the other, merge groups, and do a project that uses both. And sky's the limit. No holds barred on imagination. Go for it. These are some of the ideas I came up with. So if you want to pair with AI, talking autonomous drone, if you compare with drones, we talked about crypto, trading bot, AI plus VR. People are coming up with virtual people that are AIs you can talk to in a chatbot in a VR environment. AI plus robotics, have a learning arm or rover, have a rover that explores a room and creates a map, and then avoids objects in that same room, and then learns as you move the objects. AI plus bioengineering. How about some kind of robot farmer? You've seen the robot right now that has the laser on it that zaps weeds. It's using an AI to identify them as it rolls across the farm. Pretty cool stuff. AI plus 3D printing. Can you create a shape in AI in 3D as a shapefile generated by AI and print it? That's being done. AI plus IoT have proactive rooms, have things respond to users' movements and learn responses for the next user. All right, let's pair remaining with drones. Okay, drones plus crypto. How about aerial coin geomining? Coin is a cryptocurrency project that pays you for location data. What if your drone is out there collecting location data and generating coin for it? Pretty cool idea. Or drones plus VR, obviously FPV, first person view, drone control racing, huge sport now. Get into that. Drones plus robotics, have an aerial claw. So that's one solution for my candy challenge. Pick it up, put it down, or have it be able to land on non-flat surfaces, like have it perch on a branch with a claw. Drones plus bioengineering, have it do pollen collection and sequencing in a three-dimensional aviation space. Drones plus 3D printing. Can you print the structure for a drone? That's being done in Ukraine right now, and that's spreading across the world. All this stuff, again, this presentation is 3 years old, but it ages very well. Drones plus IoT wearables. Can you have a drone out you can hand launch to take a aerial selfie? Of course, DJI has that, but can you rebuild that from scratch? All right, let's pair remaining tech with crypto. How about crypto plus VR? So you can publish a 3D decentralized sandbox NFTs. So that's also being done in 2 or 3 different projects. Decentraland, Sand is another token that does that. Can you use them, or can you come up with one, or can you make a market to trade tokens in that currency? Crypto plus robotics and automation. How about supply chain tracking? Things like Origin Trail or Morpheus. Go look those up. Let's see, crypto plus bioengineering. So can you sell a plant as an NFT or some kind of crop or a carrot? Or can you create a hash of an RNA sequence or some kind of a biological piece of data? Can you store that on a blockchain? Crypto plus 3D printing. Can you print NFTs into real space? Think about that for a minute. Or how do you finance a printer farm? Can you sell tokens in ownership and raise funds to buy printers? Crypto plus wearables, designer garments. I mean, this t-shirt, it's an NFT as one example. Okay, so what's left to pair with AR and VR? Okay, so VR plus robotics. Can you do a remote virtual handshake? Basically FPV on a robot in VR. VR plus bioengineering. Can you do biometric authentication in virtual reality from scans of somebody's avatar? What do you think about that one? VR plus 3D printing. Can you design a model file in a program called Gravity Sketch, which runs a 3D CAD system entirely in VR, and you're manipulating things in the space in front of you, not on a flat screen? I've had students attempt that. VR plus IoT wearables. Can you come up with some 6th or 7th sense that is robotically automated or augmented? Robotics plus bioengineering. What can you do to automate a aquaponic farm or your adaptive bioreactor? Put sensors in it. Can you use to tell the computer what the conditions are, that it can respond with actuators to change the conditions and make things ideal for your species you're trying to grow? Robotics plus 3D printing. Can you print a robot arm or a rover? And robotics plus IoT wearables. Can you create a helping hand? I mean, we all have 2 arms. Why not 3? And so on. And bioengineering plus 3D printing. Can you print with living cells or some kind of cellulose material? Bioengineering plus IoT wearables. How about a wearable plant? What if your shirt was full of chlorophyll or generate electricity naturally? Or maybe your shirt was generating oxygen for you to breathe because it's a plant. How about 3D printing and IoT wearables? I already talked about printed wearable clothes or accessories, some examples. All right, so that's 2 at a time. What if we now start talking 3 technologies at a time? So 3 hit combos. That starts getting a little bit strained here, but could be kind of cool. And this is multiplying cubing your complexity of your project. So probably won't get here, but just to inspire you a bit, how about 3D printed VR drone racing? Actually, that's happening. How about crypto finance 3D printed bioreactor? That hasn't quite happened yet. Or make up your own tech platypus. So, and then we get into advanced tinkering. These are some of the technologies that I didn't put on the list because they kind of build on others and have a lot of prerequisites that are tend to be college level, honest. But hey, if you make it this far and you've got students that are insanely motivated, well, why not? Why stop them? Um, so let's talk about nanotech. So this is on the list way back, but you didn't see a Hello World yet. So the nanotech Hello World is to print a gear with 12 or more teeth, but make it as small as the period at the end of a sentence and make it functional or smaller and figure out how to do that. That is quite the challenge. Optical engineering. Can you create some kind of camouflage? And there's lots of different ways to do that or make up your own. Augmented reality. So now we're pulling the students out of the controlled environment of virtual reality where everything is inside the computer. And you're asking the computer with the student's project to interact with the actual world around them, which is a much harder challenge with a computer. But this is where the future is going, and processors are getting up to the task. So make a display that fits itself into the room. Have fun with that. All right, so back to drones. How about unmanned autonomous vehicles, UAVs, and swarms? So now we're talking your drone without your help finds its way around the room without bumping into people. Obstacle avoidance. So it's got to scan the room and have a lot of onboard or offboard AI to do all that. Or a step beyond that, how about swarm coordination, where you've got multiple drones that have to communicate to each other or have some kind of logic that allows them to do higher order functions as a group? Yeah. Now, how about wearable robotics? This is kind of what got me into engineering is can you create some kind of robotic prosthesis or exoskeleton to assist or augment a human? And there's thousands of medical reasons to do this. Every disability has a mechanical solution or a or a computational solution. And long term, my crazy blue sky goal is to create a augmented sports league where students are allowed to get together with the athletics department and the science and engineering department and no holds barred, bring whoever and whatever to run a race and compete with other schools. But that noodle turn around a bit. Genetic engineering. This is a step beyond the bioengineering into okay. Now that you've learned how to culture a monoculture, what about creating a culture and growing just that? This is way beyond high school. This is actually PhD and beyond level stuff. But there's nothing to say it's not going to go in the garage or in a high school lab somewhere. Let's figure out how to do it, make it happen. Or what I like to quote is Elon Musk: if you aim for Mars and you land at the moon, well, I like to quote Elon Musk and his: if you aim for Mars, your failure state is, well, at least you'll be at the moon. Go try to figure out how to do this. You're going to fail, but you're going to get crazy far into bioengineering, figuring out where the fail state is. And of course, my pride and joy, rocket science, actual rocket science. Let's go make a satellite and launch it into space. What's stopping you? Specifically, I've done this as a student. Go talk to Bob Twiggs at Stanford and talk about his CubeSat program. And they are hand-sized, but they are launchable into space, and arrangements can be made with proper connections. And it's just an electronic box. And I saw a student group launch a wooden satellite the other day. That was quite impressive. But yeah, get your little bacon outside the box, outside the planet. Go have fun. I certainly did. I hit the moon once. All right, how about anti-gravity? That's conventionally impossible, but who cares? That just means nobody's come up with it yet. There are various methods, or invent your own. Again, Mars shot, your failure state's going to be the moon. You're going to learn a lot getting there. Or you're actually going to solve it. I mean, why not? Who knows where the next genius for our next generation is going to pop up? Could be in your classroom. You could break all these equations wide open just by tinkering with it. I'm not going to stop them. You shouldn't either. Or how about some nuclear engineering? So build a working thorium reactor in your classroom and provide for stable, inert, fail-safe modes. And in case something breaks down, it should shut itself off. And try to sell power back to the grid. So I'm setting a minimum requirement of 1 kilowatt hour output. So it should be, obviously it has to fit in your lab. And obviously I'm just kidding with this one. Let's all stay out of jail this semester. So grading, it's a playground. How do you want me to grade recess? Just for fun, 25% each on communication, how well you kept your teammates and management in the loop. Effort, this should be obvious. Progress, how far you actually made it. And depth of study for how deep into your references did you go to solve your problem. And this is, set up your own rubric. That's just mine, came up off the top of my head. I didn't really enforce it either. It was really like 90% effort and 5% communication. Let's talk about the budget. There is no budget, and that's good news because I want you to also have the experience of going out and finding the budget and making contacts with businesses and putting in putting in the legwork to meet people and show them your plans. Ask for advice. That's my advice, because when you ask for advice, you get money. If you ask for money, you get advice. So flip the script on them, and they could fund you. They could also ask for time in their industrial facilities if they've got 3D printers or CNC machines you can borrow, or whatever it is, or computer time. And now you've got friends in the industry, so the students will be meeting people directly in the industry, and the industry people will be getting to meet students who are interested in their product. So yeah, don't have a budget. Please don't. Let the students go out and find it. I think it's a much better solution. In my own experience, when I ask God for things, he gives me people who have the things. And those people relationships are so much more valuable than the money. Go get some. All right, so in STEM, where's the mathematics? I see the science is way loaded on technology. Where's the math? It's there. It'll sneak up on you. Yeah. Just a brief word about software. A decade ago, software ate the world, and it hasn't stopped since. It just keeps evolving like a virus. I started in Fortran. Don't. MATLAB is still there and extremely powerful, but it takes a minute to learn. But it'll solve all your problems in 2 or 3 lines of code, because MATLAB is a box of coding solutions sunk up by PhDs, and you just type in the parameters and the PhD math does it for you. The challenge is to understand, okay, what did that just do and why? And can you run the thing? I'm also an expert in that. The students help. I use this in my lab. Simulink is part of MATLAB, and if you don't want to code, you can plug and play like Legos, build simulations of complex physical systems or economic systems or whatever. And it's really, really fun to do and super easy to do. So I recommend Simulink for starters in mechanical and other kinds of engineering. C, C++, this is when you're getting to robotics and you need to go very low end. You can do a lot of damage with C++ and with a lot of code. This is also where I started. JavaScript runs the internet. If you're going to program anything IoT or anything cryptocurrency, you need to know JavaScript so you can program other people's computers remotely. That's the coolest thing about JavaScript. Highly recommend everybody learn some. And especially if your favorite web page is broken, you can hack your way through it. Not hard to do. Fun skill to have for a student. React.js is built on top of JavaScript. It's for going mobile. It's a little bit overkill, and it's extremely hard and very heavy budget in industry. But if you can master this, there's big bucks in there for you, because very few people do it well. Yeah, React Native. All right, React.js is a framework put out by Facebook because people can't program. So it makes it excellent for beginning students to get in and get the stuff done without having to program too much. The problem is when things go a little wonky, debugging React.js turns out to be mostly dealing with asynchronous programming and problems in time sequences. So it's all time travel, but it's fun when it works. React Native goes to the mobile and adds a whole other layer of security onto it. Very few people do this well, and they get paid a lot of money. Python, this is huge with AI, huge with science. You need to know it because it's kind of simple. Once it's set up, it's just not simple to set up. But yeah, definitely get into that if you're doing any of the AI projects. Rust, this is high-end cryptocurrency. Solana runs on Rust. This is basically another layer beyond C++, not for beginners. Solidity, if you're going to write contracts on Ethereum in cryptocurrencies, again, it's a very specialized language. It's built to run essentially safe vault doors on and You want your safe vault door to be cantankerous. Its standard answer is no, go away. Very hard to crack. But again, you want to make millions, get a job where you handle millions. Very dangerous, very highly paid if you can get it right. And I know some of this I can help. C++, sorry, C Sharp. This is running in the back of the Unity game engine. If you want to get to VR, C Sharp's the way to go. And then, software tools. So these are kind of meta tools that help you on your learning journey. UI prototyping, UI obviously user interface. This is for mobile. A lot of people use Figma to communicate with the design and engineering teams. If you can learn this, if you've got a student that's not really into engineering, put them on the design side. Have them work on the user interface of the project. Figma is a great skill to learn, very highly paid. Designers, you don't actually have to be successful in getting anything work. You just have to make it look like it works. Or more specifically, this is what it looks like when it does work. MS Code, every hacker uses MS Code. This should be like a pencil in your lab. Every student should know how to run MS Code. It's free, and it does absolutely everything in any coding language everywhere. Game engines, simple one, Phaser, 2D, drag and drop, not too hard. I think it runs in JavaScript. And then the real ones, Unity, Unreal Engine, and Godot. If you want to get into VR or any kind of industrial visualization, definitely go with one of these three. Probably Unreal if you want the more industrial. Unity if you want more VR, and Godot if you want more of that independent hackerspace kind of a vibe to it. But learning curves vary accordingly. There's tutorials available on all of them. CAD/CAM. Okay, so there's lots of different solutions out there for there. I'm still sorting this out myself. But cut people loose and figure out how to translate from a shapefile to G-code. G-code is the language that 3D printers speak, and it's the language that CNC mills speak. It's the same language. Are you building it up in additive manufacturing, or are you ripping through it, cutting holes in, like Michelangelo carving David? He just chisel away everything that's not David. That's computer numerical controls. Same language. You learn that, you've got a technician school for life. CRISPR, I have no idea. I have a few more ideas now that I've had a few students try to go through this and learn it with me. It's very interesting and terrifying. But if you want to get into the squishy side of science and the bio, you need to know what this is. And it's a little too expensive to bring into your small lab or home garage, but maybe not for long. So I wouldn't stop anybody from learning about it if they wanted to. Or anything else you might find along the way. I mean, technologies, they're friendly. They're always trying to get you to be a user of them because they're all represented by companies now. Yeah, the world's full of them. Go find some, whatever interests the students. Okay, research tools. These things might help you organize all the chaos. Second brain, go look into that. The idea is your brain is designed to have ideas, not to keep them. So have them, store them someplace else where you can pull them out with minimal effort. Very powerful idea. Mind mapping, again, this is a way of organizing your second brain visually, and uses many visual, audio, context, colors, sounds. The more media you can throw into your notes, the better it's going to stick in here, the better you're going to actually remember where stuff is, memory palace, that kind of thing. And also in my lab, you never say I know, because once you do that, you shut off your learning. So that's not allowed. And I did the marshmallow game a bit. Stories to tell about that. And also, I'm a student in my own lab. Every semester or quarter, I get in there and do my own project because I want to demonstrate how to self-motivate. I want to demonstrate how to deal with getting stuck. I want to pull students into helping me. I want to help students on their projects. Everybody's a student. The instructor is just the one who's been around the course once and go, or is zero and go and figure it all out together. I mean, if you're not learning, you're getting stupider. Why be a teacher and get stupider? And that's it. That was my presentation, and I got the job. And feel free to use this in your lab. Contact me with any stories or results. Love to hear about it. And signing off for now.